Throughout the years, 2K has actually done a pretty good job with the inclusion of historic teams into the franchise. It's one of the main things that they have over NBA Live, and while the teams aren't always like super accurate or play like themselves, nor do they often even have the entire roster, when they're done right, they are a hell of a lot of fun. And coming up on the release of NBA 2K20, they've added so many historic teams that it's almost hard to find any that they really, need to add. However, with it being the turn of the decade, there are definitely some that they could that I think the fans would enjoy. Some of those are on this list, and some of these are just completely random. The base roster that I used for this video is called the Ultimate Roster, and it was done by the modder by the name of Thundershack. Follow him on Twitter, his link is in the comment section and the description. And without further ado, here are 14 teams that should be in NBA 2K20, even though they're probably not gonna be because of contract issues and other things like that. At number 14, why not the 2010 Hawks? Being that this team is from 2010, nobody really remembers it, but you always kinda had like an unofficial big three in Atlanta with Joe Johnson, Josh Smith, and Al Horford. Not to mention they had Jamal Crawford, who was still really fun back then. He was only 29 years old, averaging 18 points a game, and with his efforts off the bench, they were able to win 53 games. Now, they were never a serious contender, you never expected them to win a championship, but again, they are just a fun team, which is why I would rather have them than the 15 Hawks. Guys like ISO Joe and Jamal Crawford, they are just fun, and Josh Smith is a high flyer. Nothing that special about this team, and I doubt anybody really cares if they are in, but I could definitely see having some fun with them online. At 13, I would not mind having the 2010 Jazz. The only place that we have a superstar, Deron Williams, which again, a lot of you might not even remember because he fizzled out very early in the decade, but the only place we have him is on the all-time Utah Jazz. Just like the Atlanta Hawks, he and Boozer formed a very fun duo that made them a good team. They were always around like 50, 53 wins in the Western Conference, but again, they were just a squad that you knew wasn't really going to contend or really go that far. They were just fun, good and fun. This is also Boozer right before he went to the Chicago Bulls and kind of fizzled out. He was a legitimate star and a legitimate, interesting free agent going into that 2011 year. So nobody's gonna miss this team not being in the game. However, I would love to take Deron Williams online as a part of just a regular team. Heading up to number 12, how about the 2009 Blazers? And we specifically say them because Brandon Roy is in the game now. He was in my team. I believe he's on the all-time Blazers. I actually never got around to them this year. I'm not sure because I know Gilbert Arenas was in my team, yet for some reason not on the all-time Wizards. However, the 09 Blazers would give us a healthy Blazers team, which we only ever saw for like 30 games or something like that in 09. One where they had Roy, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Greg Oden. Now, I do not remember these stats off the top of my head. However, when those three were on the floor together, they had a really good record and you could tell they had potential. So if we could just take their healthy versions and have them in 2K, you have somewhat of a big three. Brandon Roy's rating is probably going to be somewhere in the 90s, whereas Aldridge and Oden, and especially Oden being healthy, is probably going to be like mid to high 80s. I think that would be a lot of fun, and people just love Brandon Roy, so this would be amazing for guys who aren't necessarily looking to play my team because of all the cancer that takes place in that mode, and then all of a sudden we'd have a real use for Brandon Roy. At number 11, how's about the 09 Nuggets? Now, this is one after I put them on the list, I was kind of like, maybe not, because we already do have the 08 Nuggets or the 07 Nuggets. One of them that has Allen Iverson and Carmelo Anthony and a lot of the same players, like Nene, I know he's on there. However, the 09 Nuggets was the best Nuggets team that Carmelo Anthony was a part of. That was the one that went the furthest. You still got J.R. Smith, probably a better Carmelo Anthony, and I mean, at this point, just why not? I'm pretty sure most of the people on the 09 Nuggets are in the game because they're already on the Allen Iverson and Carmelo Nuggets. Now we're into the top 10, and these are teams that I think we really should have. Not just ones that would be nice and they would be option teams. These are squads that people would be genuinely excited to see, and I'm gonna kick this off with the 2004 Pacers. Reggie Miller, will you please make your way into the NBA 2K franchise? What is keeping him? We have everybody, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. What makes Reggie Miller so special that he can't be a part of this? I mean, it doesn't really matter to me. I'm gonna have him anyways because modders are just very, great and talented people. But people have wanted Reggie in 2K forever now to play online with, to do my leagues with. And I picked the 04 Pacers instead of the 2000 Pacers because the 2000 Pacers obviously went to the finals, but 04 could have been there as well without the Malice in the Palace. And then plus you got guys then like Ron Artest, Jermaine O'Neal, O'Neal, Steven Jackson. I honestly just believe that team is going to be a little bit more useful than the 2000s version because, again, if the 04 team hadn't had all those suspensions, maybe they actually would have been in the finals. Maybe they would have topped what the 2000 Pacers did. So yeah, Reggie has been in 2K forever as a part of the PC version because he gets modded in every single year. I don't know what's keeping him from the console releases. Same thing at number 9 with you, Charles Barkley. Why are you not in 2K? If Kareem can be there, you can be there. If Michael can be there, you can be there. But again, I've been running with the 93 Suns since like the back half of this summer, so it doesn't really matter. I just like to share the wealth. This team would also give you Kevin Johnson, Dan Marley. They may or may not already be in the game on some all-time team, but surrounding Charles Barkley, that would be fun as hell. I'm not sure how many people would actually venture out to use this team because no one likes to learn post play, but hey, that was the great thing about Charles. He could also play from mid-range, he could also barrel inside. Charles Barkley in 2K is just right, and we've only had it 2 times so far. We had him in 13 and then we had him in 17. You can make an appearance for more than just the goddamn dream team. And that would also help us all out at number 8 in giving Hakeem Olajuwon some help. Let's get the 97 Rockets running with Clyde Drexler and Charles. This was the, like, you know, Brooklyn Nets super team of the 90s where they tried to bring in some guys that were past their prime, tried to make a super team / big 3 thing, I guess. Didn't work out that well, but also didn't go terribly. Anyways, my point with this is that we already have, what, the 94 Rockets, I believe? And that's cool. I actually loved playing with them in NBA 2K18. Thing is, when you take that team and you put them in my league, they always perform just piss poor because Hakeem is the only star. So when he's in a league, in my league with other teams that all have 2 or 3 superstars, it doesn't go out well, and it also doesn't go over well when you try to take this team online. Nobody plays with the Rockets. I don't think I've ever ran into the Rockets, and I'm talking about like all the years he's been in the game. If we actually had Charles Barkley and then you give us the one with Clyde, it doesn't even have to be the 97 Rockets. What about the 95 Rockets, the back half of the repeat team? Anything just to give Hakeem some more help to make this team more usable for people, I'd love it, but specifically I'd love 97. And at number 7, I think I would like the 2011 Celtics. The 11 Celtics are kind of like an addition with the 09 Blazers, where this is just a team, if they were actually healthy, they would have made much more of a mark on NBA history. But of course we know by the time we got to the playoffs, Rondo like damn near broke his arm in half. Shaquille O'Neal, the wheels fell off. The whole wheels fell off of that team by the time it was like May or April, whatever. But in the game, even in NBA 2K11, this team was so much fun to use. They were, for lack of a better way to put it, they were stacked. Again, when teams are in video games, they are often better than they are in real life. So you've got Rondo, you've got the big 3, and then you got Shaq, who, if anything, is just taking up space down there. He's a 7-footer. Definitely not a go-to option, but given who his teammates are in this team, it's a good squad, and it was a pretty deep squad as well. I would love running with the 11 Celtics. Specifically, this would be a better Rondo than the one we have now in 08 because this is Rondo when we started to look at him as a surefire Hall of Famer. Of course, that's before the rest of the decade happened, but in video game form, I will take it. At number 6, yes, Lob City definitely deserves a team. I'm gonna go 2014 Clippers. Look, Chris Paul and Blake Griffin, they didn't win shit. The whole Lob City thing was a disappointment throughout the decade. However, they are noticeable enough. Like when you think back on the 2010s, you will remember CP3 and Blake Griffin and Lob City. You'll remember that. And I think we are far enough removed from that era now to give them a team in 2K. Most of these guys are still here. And this was always a fun 2K team. Having CP3 with DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin, this was just always such a fun team. And I mostly chose 14 because they were already a part of this roster, but I actually would not be upset if they just put 13 instead. The one with Jamal Crawford, the one with, not just Jamal because Jamal is on 14. I'm talking about Caron Butler, Eric Bledsoe, that one. So that might even take it back to 2K12, not 100% sure. But some representation of Lob City in 2K, I think it's time. And at number 5, right across the hall, why not the 13 Lakers? Now, I can already hear you saying, oh, it was a failed super team and da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, cool. But again, teams are better in the video game than they are in real life. And if you date back to NBA 2K13, this team was a cheat code. Now that I say that, I don't understand why I would want to face them online, because you know this would be just cheese or heaven if you had Kobe and Howard, because they're not going to represent the diminished Howard most likely. You're probably going to be able to get away with cheesing with him somehow. Then you got Gasol playing out of the high post with his passing. and Steve Nash. Look, the team was injured all year. We never really got to see what they could do. I feel like they gave the 04 Lakers a spot and they didn't win anything. They did make the finals. Okay, I get it. That was definitely a better experiment than 13 turned out to be, all things considered. But I feel like they kind of have that same aura around them of failure because they got to the finals and got upset. Karl Malone got hurt. That did play a part in it. So 13 is definitely much worse off, but I would not mind seeing this in 2K. At number 4, right along with the 14 Clippers, it is time to go ahead and give us another version of the Spurs. Currently in 2K, they have given us the 05 Spurs, which are totally fucking useless because they don't have any other players. I think they have 6 or 7 real players or something like that, and it's been that way since 2K18. Actually, this year, the last time I had checked, they lost another player. So you've got, you know, the big 3, Tim Duncan, Tony, and Manu. After them, you're running straight John Smiths on the wings. There's when I was playing with this team in NBA 2K18, I had to use Tim Duncan. He had to play the whole game because he had no backup. That being said, we are far away enough from 2014, I think, now to include the 2014 Spurs. They were an amazing championship team, possibly the best this decade. No, not really. They're definitely not better than the Warriors, but still, as far as just regular, you know, normal human teams, I'd say the Spurs probably top that list. I'm not sure how well they would translate in 2K, being that guys love to just be able to spam and they love to be able to get by without using any real skill. If you're using the 14 Spurs, you're actually going to have to probably run plays and move the ball and play out of the post, things of that nature. However, I am not taking into account the lowly skill. This team just deserves a spot, you know, especially with it being 2K20, and I'm thinking they might be doing some all-decade thing. I don't see how they wouldn't have that idea written down. And if they did, yeah, the 14 Spurs would just be perfect, and they would replace that insulting 05 Spurs team they gave us that really can't even be used competitively. At number 3, we have been asking for the 09 Magic forever, and I am unwavering in that request. Right now, we can use Dwight Howard on the all-time Magic, and he's an absolute beast. Of course, that is his all-time version, but if you gave us the 09 version, that's probably the best one that exists. That would be incredible, and people would fit right in with the playstyle because Dwight is really the only guy on the team that can't shoot. He is surrounded by Rashard Lewis, Hedo Turkoglu, Jameer Nelson. Could you imagine having to deal with a prime Dwight online, especially with some modern team? Because he can run as well, and you're trying to stop him, but then you're trying to stop shooters as well. So it's not like some of these teams that are kind of outdated where they have 2 big men and they're slow and there's just a very clear advantage there. The 09 Magic would probably be hell to deal with. And this is just long overdue, but again, I'm not sure if they could get the contracts for everybody. At number 2, y'all already know what time it is. The 2010 Lakers are very long overdue. And thanks to the efforts of a lot of modders, again, Thunder Shack, Dominus helped me out with it. I left his link in the comment section of the 2010 Lakers video I did. And I've been playing with him. I've been doing a tournament with him, like a playoff tournament with some of these teams. And this team is just so much fun to play with. The synergy between Kobe and Gasol, so much fun. The post moves with Gasol, running the fast break with Lamar Odom, tossing lobs to Shannon Brown, locking people up with Ron Artest. Like, there's no feeling. I don't think I've had a feeling in 2K like getting hot with Kobe and Artest on the defensive end. You could really just hound people then. And then yeah, there's just 2010 Kobe by himself. Sensational. Throwing lobs with Gasol is such a treat because of his height. Your passes don't really get tipped off and he can pass from the high post, the low post. Tossing lobs to Kobe from him, that is the most satisfying feeling. People have wanted the 2010 Lakers forever, but if they're gonna give us the 2010 Lakers and not have like Lamar Odom and Andrew Bynum, just don't even bother, and that's probably why they haven't. And at number 1, I almost expect this team to be in NBA 2K20. The 16 Cavs. You know, I'm not gonna sit here and play dumb. I could act all outraged and be like, well, how have you had the 16 Warriors in the game but not the 16 Cavs? Because the Cavs actually won the championship. But we all know that the Warriors were the better team. There were circumstances there. 73-9, of course they got the nod. I always say the Cavaliers and Warriors won each other's championships. Cavs were supposed to be in 2015, Warriors were supposed to be in 2016, so that's just what it is. That being said, they did win the championship, and now that trio is long gone. Kevin Love is by himself in Cleveland. Who knew he would be the lone star there after all this was over? Kyrie has went his separate way. He's now on his second team. LeBron is in LA. This is the perfect time to bring them back. We are very far removed because Kyrie did not go to the Lakers this summer like we thought he might. So yeah, bring Kyrie and James back. We're about to be 4 years removed, and this is what I didn't say at the beginning of the video, but I suspect 2K, if they could really swing it with contracts and things like that, that they would do something like all-decade teams. So this is NBA 2K20, we're moving to the 2020 season. Why not add as many teams teams as you can, as many notable teams as you can from the 2010s. And so you saw some of those in those lists, like the Spurs, the Clippers, the 16 Thunder. I could have had them on this list, but I figured since we already have the 12 Thunder, just why? But yeah, any kind of notable teams that we're already missing, I hope that NBA 2K20 does include a section for all decade teams. That'd be perfect. It's the perfect time to take advantage of the fact that the 2010s are ending. You could do some really cool stuff there to make it feel like a really special year in 2K. And yeah, hopefully we'll be hearing something of that sort soon. Anyways, if there are teams you think that should have made this list, make sure to leave them in the comment section. Hit the like button, comment, and sub if you enjoyed, and hit the bell next to my name if you want notifications on future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all on the next one.